Hey, I'm Will.
I'm Adam Savage.
You're Adam. Hi. We're here in Adam's man cave, which is pretty amazing. We're here to show you. You're going to show us around and show us some stuff that you're working on, kind of for fun and passion and all the other reasons you do things.
Exactly. I've always got. At any given time, I've got a dozen projects on the back burner.
We've seen like a half dozen here since we've been here today. So let's look at what's sitting right in front of us here. There's some spiders and there's an alien head and all sorts of other. Actually, that's not the alien. That's the visitor, right?
It is no. This is the alien head. Actually, when the first Kenner 18-inch alien came out. Back in like the early '80s, I bought it. And then when I was 19, we had Thanksgiving at my house, and the turkey was so big that I made one out of paper mache that matched it, and I brought it out and made the alien burst from its chest for everybody.
That's fantastic.
And so I ruined a very expensive toy for it, but I still have it.
And did everybody scream when the alien, did they know it was coming, or was it a
They could kind of tell that something was
paper mache turkey stood out. Okay.
Exactly.
So what do we have here? I see a bunch of coiled wire and some what look like custom glass globes and a bunch of finely machined metallic parts. What are we looking at?
All of these things will eventually coalesce to be what is referred to as the Hellboy Mecha Hand. In the movie Hellboy, Rasputin gives birth to Hellboy with this large, sort of gothic steampunk arm that he wears and controls the forces of darkness with tons of electricity.
I've always wanted to control the forces of darkness.
Exactly. I love the movie. I love the prop. And Guillermo del Toro has become a friend. And as we were talking, I said that I love the movie and I particularly love this prop. And he then hooked me up with Mike Izzaldi from Spectral Motion. They built the prop.
Okay, so they built the original one for the movie.
They built the original one for the movie, and they still had it.
Oh, nice.
So they hooked me up not only with a visit where I took pictures of it and I took measurements of it, but they also gave me all this reference of the building of it. They introduced me to some of the people that worked on it. I actually knew some of the people that worked on it, like Mark Satrakian, who's like a robotics god. And I started making my own.
Cool.
I've been working with a guy who did some 3D files for some pieces like this, what I call the scorpion cage. The fingertip I machined myself, and then I had it molded and cast. The glass tubes were all actually manufactured to my specs by a scientific glass company in Berkeley.
So you went and actually took pictures and took measurements in the whole 9 yards from the original?
Yes, but not only did I do that, but I blew them all up full size. So I chose a reference point and then blew it up until it was an actual size. And once it was, I started to see things that even the guys who put it together kind of forgot. Like there's a radio tube. There's a thing in here. Now, I can see that these are like model train brass. So I can see that this matches this, so I found that, and that was cool. But this is a radio tube. What radio tube? Well, I actually went onto Flickr, and I just searched radio tube, because people love to take pictures of cool things.
Well, that's the best thing about Flickr. You can go as deep as you want.
And I had to go deep. It took like probably 400 or 500 pictures of radio tubes until I saw one that looked close.
Okay.
And lo, I managed to find it. It is a EF85.
Oh yeah, the EF85.
And this is it. And it's got the little ring around the top. This is actually a wrong EF85. But I managed to find enough to get the part to look exact, and there it is. It is exactly the right part. Now, the thing is that it looks like I'm making a whole bunch of them here. In reality, I'm making 3.
But 5 fingers.
There's 5 fingers, and there's hundreds and hundreds of parts. Sometimes I have parts to make as many as 5, but I overmake everything because you screw things up while you're doing it. I actually shattered one of these in my lathe the other day.
That's gonna be messy.
It was messy.
How did you put this in a lathe in the first place? It's a weird...
Carefully.
Okay. I guess that's always the right answer, right?
Yeah, this thing spins on the arm on these big, wide Kadon bearings, which is a very expensive little proposition because these things are in the many hundreds of dollars. But I managed to find a lot of 4 on eBay for like $100 a piece.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a constant searching process. There's a dial on here. This gauge here has a dial. Now the dial is something custom made for the movie, but the pointer is real.
It's a specific, so I see you have a whole bunch of pointers here.
So I found the British company that made a set of pointers for a certain period of time, and they're all the same, even though the gauges are different. So I have the pointers being accurate.
Disassemble that, use the pointer, and call it a day.
Exactly. I found the company that makes the connectors that you can see on the back of the thing. I have actually also gone and done all the leather work myself.
Oh,
here.
wow.
So that's the palm of the hand. These are parts, I haven't cut out the circles of these yet, and I won't until they're actually all in and wrapped around the hand.
So you're going to wrap the leather and the rest of the parts around this metal tube, which
Right.
you'll then put your hand up inside and until you get to the glove. I assume.
Exactly, and then I will raise the forces of darkness, and I'll have my own Hellboy.
Well, so I mean, we got that going for us.
What exactly?
So I mean, it seems like it's part figuring out how to make stuff that you can't get, and then part of it's kind of digging back into what people were using 15, 20, 30 years ago, depending on the movie. Because I assume a lot of time they just, like a prop maker would just go to the hardware store and kind of look around until they figure out the piece that they want.
You're exactly right. You have to think like a prop maker, and prop makers aren't. I'm a prop maker. I don't want to go to some super exotic place to find a very difficult to find Vickers Viscount reading lamp to make something out of. But if I'm in an aircraft salvage yard and there's a box of them, that's what I will use.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely have to think through in that kind of mindset. And there are other places where you just can't find something. Like in one of the tubes is a mummified frog, and I couldn't find one, so I sculpted my own.
Okay.
I had these cast in resin and then chromed, and the chroming isn't that great, but that's okay because the prop itself is actually super weathered.
Yeah, so even if the chroming isn't great, you're gonna go through and kind of scuff it up and
I'm
make
going
it
to go
look
through and dirty it up and rust it up and everything. And for me, the exercise of every few weeks sitting down and absorbing one more part of this and finding out what it is kind of how I relax. It's like a meditation. This is now about a year and a half into the project.
Oh, wow.
And for me, this is actually quite a lot of progress for a year and a half. I have some projects 10 and 12 years in the running.
Let's talk about the winding. I've just started learning machining a little
Yes.
bit. And well, first off, this is amazing. I don't know if people. Well, this one, the metal.
So this
one
this is the original. I
Yeah.
machined this out of aluminum.
This is really hard to do. First off, it's aluminum, which they're not letting me near aluminum yet.
It's it's gally and it
Right,
jumps.
well, on the
Yeah.
lathe, yeah. But the smooth, that's very impressive. And then you made a custom mount.
Well, the thing is it's tricky to make something like a thimble shape because you have to figure out what your order of operations are.
Yeah.
So for me, it was you can't make the outside and then the inside because you don't have anything to clamp to unless you made a custom tool to clamp it. For me, what I did was I laid the inside, then I laid the outside, then I cut it off right here, and then I actually machined out of black nylon here a buck that holds it in orientation so that I can clamp it into my milling machine and then make the notches here. Now, after I did that, I had this cast in resin. I had about 40 of them cast in resin, and the fingertips are all wound with motor winding wire.
Oh, wow.
So what I did was I chucked the cast chromed pieces right into the same buck, put my lathe on its slowest setting, and sat there and fed the winding wire, and it went really, really fast. I was
sure.
actually able to do all of these in about an hour and a half.
Much faster than doing it the old-fashioned way with your hands.
The first time I did it the old-fashioned way, and it took like an hour. And I
sure.
was so mad by the end because it kept on jumping off, and it kept on.
Well, you've got what, 15 of them to do?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. I'll probably do 16 just in case I break one. I've broken many of the tubes in the course of doing this.
I can imagine. Well, thank you so much, Adam. This is great, and we'll be back more with Inside the Man Cave and something else cool next time. See you guys later.
Bye.